big thank you to everyone that watched and left comments on my video last week, and big thanks to those of you who answered my question, where did I go wrong with my embossing powder? So yeah, I'll be trying it again, and hopefully next time I won't have the same issues. So hi, I'm Kylie Koo, welcome to my studio, and this week I've got something a little bit different for you. I am going to be playing with alcohol inks. Acrylic ink is one of my favourite mediums, but I haven't really used alcohol inks very much before. So I bought myself these Jacquard Pinata, not sure how to pronounce it. I bought 2 sets of the alcohol inks. I got some isopropanol, which I think in the States you refer to as rubbing alcohol, and I'm also going to be using some hand gel. So in one spray bottle I'll put the isopropanol, and in the other I've got a 50-50 mix of the isopropanol, and I hope that's the last time I need to say that because it's difficult to say, and the rubbing, not the rubbing alcohol, the hand sanitizer. I've got here a sheet of photo paper, so it's glossy. I've cut it into 4 pieces because I'm not going to waste a lot of paper on just testing things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 things on the glossy side of the paper using just the pure rubbing alcohol. I'm going to say that rather than the other word. And on the other one I'm going to use that 50-50 mix of rubbing alcohol and the hand sanitizer. Now the idea for the 50-50 mix came from my friend Sharon from the channel Texture Junkies, and it's really from watching her videos where she uses alcohol inks that I decided I would try them as well. And it was from her that I got the idea of this 50-50 mix, which she calls her secret sauce. Now I think it might vary depending on what type of hand sanitizer you mixed in. I went 50-50, I'm not sure that worked terribly well for me. So I am going to limit the colours I'm using. I've got here teal, I've got passion purple, Senorita magenta, I think that said Senorita anyway, rich gold, and I think I also take out the white. Yes, I've got 2 whites because I did buy 2 sets, so there was a white in each. So I will probably put the rest of this on a bit faster because it is a bit of a kind of slow process. So I've got I think I've got the shiny side up here of the photo paper, so the actual side that a photo would normally print onto. And I'm going to use the pure rubbing alcohol on one and the 50-50 mix on the other. You'll see there that the gold you need to shake really well because all the kind of gold stuff, the pigment stuff, all goes to the bottom. Now I probably should have sprayed that before I put anything down. Just realised, a beginner's mistake I guess. I think you can drop it straight on, but yeah, maybe I should have put some down to begin with. So basically I'm just putting some down and then spraying on the alcohol. It does kind of spread out and go across to the other piece, but you know, I'm not too concerned about that. I am just using a straw from a drinks container just to move it about. I know that Sharon has a little puffy thing that she uses. I know I've got something like that somewhere, so I didn't bother buying another one, but of course when I went to look for it I couldn't find it. So just trying to add colour on there, moving it about, just blowing it. What I should say, if you use alcohol inks you will know all this already, but there is a strong smell from it and you really need to work in a ventilated area, and I got into a terrible mess with it. Now this was a white and this was very difficult to get out. I don't know if the container was a little bit faulty, or if it was just so thick, if I needed to shake it more. I got some out and discovered that this was very, very thick and opaque, and I really found it very difficult to move. And when it did move, you'll see that it was coming off in clumps. Now, that probably is simply because I am no expert. So onto the other piece of paper now, and again using, this is on the back of the paper now, and I'm still using the pure rubbing alcohol, and you'll see here that this seems to move a lot better. Now, I remember years ago watching Nina Ribena do something on photo paper, and it's the same paper as this. I was trying to find her video the other day. I couldn't find it, but if I can find it, I'll link it again. This paper actually came from Costco. I've had it for years. I don't print many photos. And I remember her saying that when she was using the alcohol ink, it worked better on the back of the paper than the front. And that was certainly my experience from today. So I really wasn't looking to do anything other than play with these, and I will have a second part where I'm playing with alcohol inks, because I just wanted to try different things and just see how I got on with them. As I say, I found it very messy. There I sprayed on top of it. You can see it was breaking into the little cells. Used I can't remember if I'd swapped it out for the other white at that point. But again, it's moving a little bit better than it did on the first one, but not great. When I blow it there, it's certainly spreading out a little bit more, but again, it's tending to be more in little clumps, for want of a better word. So I've gone back to them, just trying to add in some gold now, giving it a good shake. Not sure how this is going to work. I can see it kind of blooming, or whatever it's called, a little bit. Again, doing better, I would say, on that right hand piece, which is the back of the paper. So again, just spreading it out. This tended to separate into little bits as well. You see the original colour that I put down on that first piece of paper, it really hasn't moved at all. Here I felt, although the gold was still splitting up a bit, it did have a better effect. So I just decided to mop it up with this bit of packaging paper. It was so wet. I mean, it does dry fairly quickly, but I think I just used so much of the rubbing alcohol on it that it was basically saturated. And there was a couple of times, I'm going to admit it, there was a couple of times, and I thought, have I wasted my money buying these? But, you know, when you try something for the first time, you've just got to try it and then try it again. So this time I'm using the 50-50 mix, the secret sauce mix. Now, I did ask Sharon about this, and what she said is, depending on the hand sanitizer, you might need more, you might need less. So again, I think on the right hand side, that's the shiny side of the paper, and to the left is the back of it, which still does have a wee bit of a glossy feel. Now, of course, the paper that I think is mainly recommended for alcohol inks is in fact Yupo paper, which isn't really a paper, it's just a kind of plastic byproduct that's made into something that looks a bit like paper. But I know a lot of people get good results with photo paper. And for me, in terms of how these turn out, there's a couple of them that I thought actually looked not too bad at all. I was quite happy by the end of it. And I think it is very much a case of just trying different things and seeing how it goes. Now, the reason for the secret sauce, as Sharon calls it, is that she feels, and I think this is her reasoning anyway, that it actually allows the alcohol ink to stick to it a bit more and perhaps not spread out quite so far. And she gets wonderful depth of colours and textures with her And yeah, it's really from watching her that's kind of influenced me to try it. So again, putting on the white, and again it was just kind of sitting there as a bit of a blob, breaking up a little bit but not much. And now trying the gold and just doing a similar kind of process. Now, if you had tuned in this week expecting to see another masterboard project, I actually haven't had time to film anything at all this week. I've been working on bringing my 52-week journal up to date, my accordion concertina journal. I had a few pages that I had to do some finishing touches to, and I've still got them all to join together. So I've been focusing on trying to get that done because I'd like to start filming the remaining pages. Now on the back of the paper again, and again I think it moves a lot easier on this side. So yeah, I filmed this last week ahead of last week's video. You know, I just decided to turn the camera on. I knew I was just going to be playing, but I thought, well, why not? There's maybe other people out there that would just like to see this from a novice's perspective and how it goes, you know. So join me as I hopefully learn how to use these and master them. As I said right at the start, I love my acrylic inks. They don't behave in the same way. You can get kind of some effects similar, but yeah, they are different. Here we go with the white again. Put too much on here. It just came out in a big blob. So adding lots and lots of that 50-50 mix. Again, it's kind of dispersing rather than in a kind of wave. It's just like little clumps. So I definitely need to do some more work with that and see where I get to. Now trying the gold. I do like the way that it reacts. It definitely breaks up as well, but I think you can get a better effect with that than I was getting with the white. And the white's still actually splitting up in places there. So this is where I took the other white out, thinking it was maybe just a problem with that one container. And this one was also a little bit difficult to get out, but I don't know if the hole was just slightly smaller on it, but it came out in smaller lumps. So back in with a bit more gold. I think this is one of these things that, well, for me anyway, I just didn't know where to stop, whether to keep going, or was I just going to end up with one big mess, or, you know, was it going to come together somehow at the end of it? So again, just using that straw just to blow things about a bit. And of course the thing is, you can go back even when it's dry and almost reactivate it. Now that lifted a lot off, and it was actually quite nice like that in a sense. You could leave it like that. It was quite a nice effect. That one had dried more, so didn't lift as much off. So just dabbing off the excess here. A lot had gone through to the back, just showing there that those spots are just sitting. I quite liked that one. That wasn't bad. Again, that seemed a bit blobby. And again, this one wasn't bad. So definitely the non-shiny side of the paper worked best. Now I touched that, so I'm guessing it just wasn't dry. So I'm just going to dab it to try and take away that mark. So I bring in the mix just to start to move it about again to disguise where I'd done that. So I then decide, well, I'll give that other one a try. And again, I'm going back there to the pure alcohol and seeing what it does. And just moving them about. And of course, with acrylic inks, that's one of my favourite things to do, is just to let the inks move about on the page. So I was getting some movement on the sides that was shiny. I don't think quite as much as I got on the reverse side of the paper. Now, I don't like wearing gloves when I'm doing art, but I think in future I would use gloves for this, because I got into a terrible mess and it was difficult to get out. So just showing you that one. That was the shiny side. Ink didn't move an awful lot. That one I quite liked. But again, that was the shiny side. This, I think, was the non-shiny. No, I'm sorry, I've got that wrong. The two at the bottom were the reverse sides. The two at the top were the shiny sides, I think. Just pointing out little bits there, I think just where I've touched it. So, yeah, all in all, it was okay. I look forward to doing more though. So thanks for watching. Do take care. Bye for now.